Hi, my name is Natasha Johnson and I'm in Year 10 at Brighton Secondary School, South Australia. Before I begin, I would like to acknowledge that we meet on the traditional lands of the Kaurna people and we respect their spiritual relationship with their country. I also acknowledge and respect the Kaurna people as the custodians of the Greater Adelaide region. Yes, Australia has been described by leading Australians across the political spectrum as a Crown Republic. But does this term correctly describe our current constitutional arrangements? Calling Australia a Crown Republic is an accurate way to describe how Australia's political system operates, but it should be avoided because it's unnecessarily confusing and unhelpful. A republic refers to a political system whereby the power of the government is derived from the people whom they rule over. This is usually achieved by allowing voters the opportunity to decide who governs at fair and regular elections. This should, in theory, produce a government that reflects the values and beliefs of the majority of the population. In contrast, the word crown is another way of saying a monarch, a person who came to rule over a population by inheriting the position of leader. Unlike in a republic, their power does not come from the people, but from the family they were born into. Therefore, using the term Crown Republic to describe any political system is confusing because it's actually a contradiction in terms. One half of the phrase represents a system where the power to choose the leader rests with the people, the other by inheritance. One might call Australia a Crown Republic because the government is chosen by the people at regular elections, but the head of state is still a representative of the Queen. Australia's monarch lives far away in England, so the Queen gives her power to a Governor-General whose main role is to give royal assent to any bill passed by the Australian Parliament. This is another way of saying that, with the Governor-General's approval, the bill is made into law. Although this might sound like a lot of power, the Australian government suggests a candidate for the Queen to appoint as the Governor-General, as he/she is then voted in by 2/3 of the Australian Parliament. It is also a convention, that is, a spoken agreement but not in the Constitution, that the Governor-General always gives royal assent to every bill passed by the Australian Parliament as it represents the supposed will of majority of citizens. Besides one incident in 1975 where the Governor-General dismissed a sitting Prime Minister, the Governor-General is thus often referred to as a figurehead because he/she has no real power and always acts on the advice of the Australian Parliament. In light of this argument, it is more helpful to use the term constitutional monarchy to refer to the Australian system rather than Crown Republic. The reason being that Australia still has a monarch as its head of state, but they are heavily constrained by the existing constitutional arrangements. So it is important to ask the question, why do some people use the term Crown Republic instead of constitutional monarchy if they essentially describe the same thing? Let me start by making reference to how some leading Australians have defined their understanding of a Crown Republic. Former Prime Minister John Howard, a well-known monarchist, made the point that our existing system is very democratic. We are as democratic as any country and more so than most. Howard views the term Crown Republic as a synonym for our constitutional monarchy, meaning we are in essence a republic in that we have control by the people and that we have a monarch, Queen Elizabeth II, as our head of state. Malcolm Turnbull, Shadow Minister of Communications and Broadband, suggests we are a republic already and defines national identity by reference to our common political values. Jai Martin Kavitz from Australians for Constitutional Monarchy believes that right now our youth lacks interest in the debate. He suggests people are indifferent to it and have a lack of knowledge and insists education is the key to inform people about our current constitutional arrangements. Jai Martin Kavitz foresees there will be instability within our political system until there is a new constitution if we as Australians choose to become a republic. Professor David Flink believes that the education system should have more about our constitution. He says that if there is another referendum, that Australians should be informed about what they are voting on. To understand the reasoning behind using one term over the other, it is important to stress that this is an ongoing debate in Australia. In recent times, there has been a push to make Australia a republic, to remove the Governor-General and the Queen and replace them with the Australian head of state. In 1999, Australians voted at a referendum to decide whether or not they would like to become a republic, but decided to remain a constitutional monarchy. Although a majority of Australians wanted to become a republic, the movement itself was split over the question of which model would be best suited for Australia. Disunity over the choice of model split the yes vote and proved costly at the referendum itself. Yet despite the result of the 1999 referendum, the debate to make Australia a republic is still going on. The two most recent Prime Ministers, Julia Gillard and Kevin Rudd, were both Republicans, but neither moved to have a second referendum. Tony Abbott, leader of the opposition on the other hand, is a monarchist, and, if elected, would not move to have another referendum. One important element that does need changing in our existing system is within our own constitution. Me Unity, a national conversation website recognising Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples and culture for the benefit of all Australians, says that, as Australians, we all want to be recognised and treated as equals. The Constitution does not recognise Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people as Australia's first people and continues to have sections that permit discrimination on the basis of race. Recognition is an important part of reconciliation between Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people and other Australians. Perhaps it will be when a second referendum is held to address the inclusion of our Indigenous people in our Constitution that the debate between monarchy and a republic will be settled. Our Constitution was adopted over a century ago by a narrow portion of Australian society whose thinking reflected the dominant historical, social and political expectation of the day. As a result of this, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people were not asked to contribute to writing the Constitution. And finally, the Constitution does not acknowledge Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander histories or laws. Since Federation in 1901, Australia has seen some symbolic changes in the Constitution, having recognised the rights and unique place of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people in Australian society. However, the possibility of discrimination on the basis of race in Australian law still exists under our Constitution. To eliminate the possibility of discrimination, certain sections would need to be amended. Section 51 allows laws to be passed which can discriminate against a race. Historically, Indigenous Australians have suffered most from these laws. Section 25 allows the discrimination against any race. This was used to prevent Indigenous Australians from voting. These racially based laws reflect a colonial attitude, and it's time for the wrongs of the past to be acknowledged and corrected. In conclusion, Crown we are, a republic we are not. Australia's constitutional system is still, in essence and in fact, a constitutional monarchy and a colony of the British Empire. It is constitutionalised, but it's time for change. In this modern age, colonisation is unacceptable. As a young Indigenous Australian, I believe it's time for Australia to become a true republic, break free from the monarchy and change our constitution to recognise and unite all Australians. Thank you.